teaching children how to think, not what to think. Parents often don't know what to do with their children. Almost everywhere you go, you will see obnoxious children. At amusement parks, overexcited children demand more and more rides. Distraught parents angrily say no and then give in when their child is persistent. Fathers dig in their pockets, spending more and more money than they had intended. Whoopings are given in public. Mothers drag resisting children by the arm. When they arrive home, they wonder why they went in the first place. In restaurants, children may refuse to eat unless they are coaxed. They disturb other customers with their loud cries for attention. In supermarkets, it is not unusual to see children running up and down the aisles, demanding special treats and having temper tantrums when refused. At many schools, it is necessary to have police officers on duty at all times. Many children will not accept responsibility for learning and are defiant to the teachers. I have seen parents plead, bribe, threaten, and punish to get their children to behave. The results were usually unsuccessful. I believe that democracy has become a way of life for the family. It is the cause of these behavioral problems. Many families no longer have the parents ruling over the children. We now have equality. The do as I say form of child rearing is not working as well as it did in the past. Parents need to learn new methods to guide and educate their children. Unfortunately, the method of giving children restricted freedom has made children act like tyrants and their parents feel like slaves. Well-defined restrictions giving children a sense of security. Without them, a child feels at loss and will act destructively. The methods of teaching children how to think, not what to think, works well today. From the time a child is born, his parents start telling him exactly what to do and what to think. For example, I can count the times I've heard my auntie beg her grandson to eat his food. The conversation usually sounds like this. Christian, eat your supper. I'm not hungry. You haven't eaten your vegetables. I ate my chicken and I'm full. You won't get any pie if you don't eat your vegetables. Grandma, you said I could have some pie. At this point, Christian is in tears and his grandma is angry. They are in a power struggle. Christian seldom eats food that is nutritious and his grandma always gives in on the pie. I firmly believe that picky eaters come from panicky parents. Her panic gives Christian much attention, but it also shows him a lack of respect. His grandma is convinced that Christian doesn't know when he is hungry, that he can't possibly think for himself. If Christian isn't allowed to decide if he is hungry, how will he learn to make other important decisions when he is older? A better way to handle this situation of a picky eater is not to care if they eat it all. I know this sounds strange, but it works like a charm. My mom has 2 children who when we were small, like Christian, ate food that was good for us because that was all that was provided. Contrary to what some people believe, children won't starve themselves to death. Letting them decide how much they eat is one step to teaching them how to think, not what to think. When my sister was 4 years old, she constantly put her shoes on the wrong feet. At first, I would change her shoes. I soon realized that changing her shoes and pointing out to her that she did it wrong had not done any good. I was also inferring that she was dumb. However, I was the dumb one. Wearing her shoes on the wrong feet put me in her service every time. The problem was corrected within a week when I let her decide for herself how to wear her shoes. It is difficult for most parents to allow their children to make choices and let them experience the consequences for the decisions they make. It was hard for my mom when last November when my sister put off working on a science project until the night before it was due. Like many 12-year-old children, she didn't realize how long the project would take her to finish. She began work on the project at 8 o'clock p.m. and was still working at midnight. I wanted to tell her that if she had started the project 2 weeks ago, she wouldn't be up so late now. Then I remember April 14th of that same year when my parents were up almost all night doing taxes. I believe they learned from their mistakes because they were dead tired the next day. When a child makes a mistake, the goal should not be to punish or rescue them, but to show them what they have done, give them ownership of the problem, ways to solve it, and leave their dignity intact.